All right, we are now live from New York and Crete. We're having a very
Yes.
special guest today, Heinz. So Heinz, probably one of the first Java champions. I think everybody in the community knows Heinz. He not only share his knowledge, it's also he helps people to get in shape. So I love your challenge. I participated in both the running challenge, push-ups challenge. I was able to do 3,000 push-ups on that month. So thank you very much for that, Heinz. It was amazing. Uh, I think Heinz is one of this person that he can. It's one of the few persons I know that he can probably talk about strings for more than an hour alone. And I think I'm very thankful for everything you produce to the Java community. Thank you very much, Heinz. Let me stop
Thank you very
talking
much.
now. I'm gonna give the stage to you. You have your presentation. Thank you very much and good luck.
Thanks, Rodrigo. It's really nice of you to introduce me and to be my moderator. We've been in contact for such a long time. It's great to see you face to face, even though we're not actually face to face. Yeah, and to have so many wonderful people with us today. Um, yeah, the string talk was fun. I actually thought of one day doing a talk on integer for like an hour. And to see if I can do it. There's no reason to do it, but or maybe character, or I don't know, Java util array list or something silly to see if I can if it can be done. So the way that I'm doing this is a bit different to the others. You can see I'm sort of part of the picture, and also your comments are part of the picture too. So if you put a comment in there, it will pop up on my screen, and then we can see it. So it's going to be very interactive. But I promise I'm going to do this in 45 minutes, which was a really bad idea. I should have said like 3 hours or something, but unfortunately, that's what we've got. So you can see your comments popping up now as you give them. I can see them on another screen. So as you pop them up in, I'll be able to hopefully respond to them. And that's what makes a talk far more fun, is when we have interaction. All right. So I want to tell you my story, how I came into this whole thing of IntelliJ. I started programming Java in 1997, and it actually took, how long did it take? 8 years after that before I became a Java champion. Now, the reason I became a Java champion is because I happened to take some guys out, some guys, not guys, generic guys, some people out for dinner. They paid, but they were from Sun Microsystems and they visited Cape Town. So we took them around after their conference. And when the Java Champion program started, they said, "Oh, we must get Heinz in there. So just basically make sure that you wine and dine whoever you meet, and maybe you'll become a Java Champion one day." Yeah, so JBuilder was like the thing because Borland made all the great IDEs, Borland C++, and I think it was Turbo C++ before that. So they did this great company, and at the time there was really nothing, not much else. And then I went to Germany in 2002, and I used Eclipse for a couple of months, and I was hooked to this amazing program. All you had to do was save, and all your code was automatically compiled. It was absolutely fantastic. But then I went back to South Africa, and a few months later, I had to do some work on some really horrible, messy Java code, and I also had to do some Swing GUIs. And IntelliJ had this really nice GUI builder, but the thing is, I'd heard about IntelliJ from so many people. They all said, "Hey, you got to check out IntelliJ. You got to see what that's all about." And so I downloaded it, and at the time there was no free version. You had to actually pay for it. And so I bought it. Sorry, I used it for 30 days. And when it was over and it said, "Now you've got to pay," I pulled out my credit card and I bought it. It was a lot of money at the time. I don't know, like $500 or something. I was living in South Africa where the currency is not that strong. But I bought it, and I always say that I paid twice for IntelliJ. I paid for it once when I bought the license, and then I also was being paid per hour, right? So I was being paid per hour, and I was working so much faster, so I was getting paid less for the same amount of actual work done. But luckily, that's the only time I paid for it. So I did buy the first license, and then every time I wanted an upgrade, I would beg them and say, "Please, can I have an upgrade? Please, please, please." And they then okay, they upgraded me. and they upgraded me, and it's been going. I've been pulling that scam for many years, since 2003. For 20 years, I've been getting free upgrades. But nowadays, all the Java champions get a free upgrade. So if you're a Java champion, or if you do something really great for the community, you'll get a free upgrade as well, and of the ultimate. But today we're just going to look at the free version. We're going to quickly look at the comments. C++ builder, yeah, that was funny. I've got Trish's book. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but I've got it. So I can't give comments on it yet. I'm sure it's going to be great, because Trish is amazing and she has great ideas. So I'm sure it's going to be fantastic. But I haven't had a chance to look at it yet. I've been just crazy busy. Every year, I think I'm going to go bankrupt, and I just take on any possible work that I can find, and then I've got far too much work to do, and get stressed out of my mind. Okay, you figured out the questions already. All right, the first tip, Turbo Pascal, exactly, Chris. The first tip is get yourself JetBrains Toolbox. It's been such a game changer for me, because before that, I used to really try to keep IntelliJ up to date. And in every new version of Java, there's something different. You need to download IntelliJ, the newest version. And then I also always wanted to have the early access version, and the community edition as well. And to keep all of that up to date took me too much time. Whereas nowadays, it just does everything by itself. Now, I wanted to say that I don't work for JetBrains. I don't get paid by JetBrains. I can say whatever I want to. And sometimes they actually mess up new versions. So I'll give you one example. At the moment, the version is 2022.3.1, right? And there's a really bad bug in that, in 2022.3.1. If I open a project that was created with an earlier version of IntelliJ, guess what? It live locks. And the only way that I can shut down IntelliJ is by doing kill -9. It just stops. I can't do anything. And I've got a lot of different projects that I've created, over the last 20 years of using IntelliJ that I want to open. So I've got hundreds of projects, and if I open the wrong one, it just hangs. So the cool thing is, with IntelliJ Toolbox, I can keep the 2022.3.1 and 2022.2.4 installed at the same time. And so if it hangs up, I just kill -9, I open up with 2022.2.4, and there we go. Okay, so Bashkar doesn't understand the joke. It is a joke because I paid twice. I bought it, and then I got paid less, so I paid twice, right? And Caspar Madsen, you're absolutely right. I should have done that. If I'd done that, I would have made far more money, but I didn't. It was a long time ago. I was a bit more stupid than I'm now. But there we go. So get Toolbox, because it'll help you to keep everything up to date. And if you then want to roll back and use a previous version, it's really easy to do. Okay, the other thing is appearance and behavior. You might notice that my slide background actually looks a bit like the Darkular scheme. That's deliberate, because I want it to look similar to this. Where is it now? This. So it's the same look and feel. This is actually the most popular scheme at the moment by a long shot. Some people don't like it. I've made the fonts a bit bigger. What I've also done is I've made the errors a bit more pronounced. You can see final. If I do final, it's like bright red, bright red bold. I just did that so that you can see it more easily. The only time that I don't like this scheme is if I'm sitting at the beach and I'm trying to work on my laptop and if the sun is glaring, then I can't read anything. But that doesn't happen very often. So, I mean, it happens actually quite often, but not on the beach, but in my car near the beach. But even then, it actually doesn't work too well. But the funny thing is that we spend thousands of dollars buying these really expensive monitors with 1 million lumen, and then we use dark screens because otherwise we'll just go blind within about a month. Anyway, the point is, if you use Darkular scheme, I would recommend that you make the errors more pronounced so you can see them more easily. The other thing is that the default key map that comes with Mac OS X, if you use Mac OS X, is not very finger-friendly, and I think the IntelliJ IDEA Classic is a better one. So I use that, and I've got some deviations on that as well. Other things which are very useful is the camel hump words, to turn that on. That's off by default. I don't know why. But for example, let's go to IntelliJ and double click on selection. So I just want selection, and it selects the whole word. I just want selection. Give me just selection, and I double click on it, and it selects the whole word. So it's really annoying. And if I go to settings, and I type in camel, even to CAME, to smart keys, if I turn it on, then I can simply double click and it selects the word that I'm on. So that's what I normally do. If you want to select the whole thing, you just click it and drag it and you've got it. I find that to be a bit more productive myself. Victor, it is, we're going swimming every day and it's 17, today it was 17 degrees Celsius in the water. So I have to make you jealous because why not? Why not? Got to talk about the beach, right? Okay, so the new IO. Yeah, that's a good question, Kato. I actually don't know. I sort of looked at the new IO a little bit. I thought to myself, oh no, this is terrible because now I have to re-record my whole course. You know, I have to change all my slides to make them look like new UI. But anyway, I'm sure it's going to help. The other thing which is very, very helpful is if you turn on auto scroll tune from source. I think this should be on the default. And there's so many times that we're doing a course and you know, these are advanced Java courses and the programmers are busy coding and they say to me, you know, it's not working, right? And they look at what they're doing and they're busy editing the solution. And I say, you're editing the solution. And they go, no, it's the exercise. And no, it's the solution, because what they did was they single-clicked on the exercise, they peeked at the solution, they opened that, and then they single-clicked on the exercise, but you've got to double-click, otherwise it doesn't open it. So the keybind I recommend for Mac is the IntelliJ Classic, that one, because it has better mappings for that. And I changed it a little bit, so that because the problem with the normal one is this isn't finger friendly. And I'll point out a few things which aren't finger friendly. All right, so I want to show you that quickly. This is I think very important, this little gear here. Open files with single click, and always select open file. Let me show it without it. So here I'm on Elegant Table. I'm going to go to I don't know. This is not my code. Somebody else wrote this. I've got to double click on it, and then I've got to double click on it to open it. And if I click back on that, it doesn't actually open it. I think this hails back from like 20 years ago when we were running like 120 megahertz. But nowadays, there's absolutely no reason not to just open it each time. And so also if I click up here, it doesn't, on the left-hand side, highlight where I am. So I'm always lost as to where I really am. If I turn it on, open files with single click and always select open file, then if I click at the top in the editor, it jumps to the right place on the left-hand side. Also, if I single click on the left-hand side, it puts me in the right place. So as I said, I've seen people do this, make this mistake too many times. And I always put it on. Keyboard is IntelliJ Classic. That's the one. IntelliJ Classic. That's the one. How do you activate line to separate code blocks? Oh, I wasn't going to show you that. I wasn't going to show you that, Vahram, but I'll show you. Okay, so that is that's quite fun, quite easy to do. You simply go to you type line separator, and it shows you general appearance, and it shows method separators. So if you've got questions like that, you just type it in the top, and it will show you where to find it. It's under Edit to General Appearance. You can turn on those line separators. Okay, what else do we have? Upcoming different state for single-click files. Oh, that's interesting. Maybe they finally did it. That's good. To keep it to open files instead of clicking around. Okay. Daniel is going to the keyboard thing. Okay, so we'll get to that in a moment. That's on my to-do list. But it's actually the same thing applies, Daniel, because if you don't have a single click, then you have to move it up and press enter to open the file. So it's exactly the same thing. So Vivek, thanks for pointing out that we've got a keyboard shortcuts PDF. which you'll find under help. So if you go to help, and in fact, the whole philosophy of IntelliJ, this is important, is that it's designed to be used, I'm going to say mostly without mouse. There are some places where you need the mouse, but it's designed that you can use it without the mouse if you hate mice. If you're a racist against mice, then you don't need to use a mouse, right? If you don't have mice, that's fine. You don't have to use mice. But hotkeys can do almost everything. And what I recommend is that you go to your keyboard shortcuts, help keyboard shortcuts, print it out, and try and memorize one new one per day, and then just mark it off once you've memorized it. That should take you approximately 6 months. All right. How to reformat a file? That's a good question. You can do hard wrap or soft wrap, so you can do that. Just search for wrap, and you'll find it. W-A-R-A-P. All right. So one thing which I found very helpful is to go to help and click on my productivity. And this shows you how productive you've become. And it shows you what you've done the most. So with me, the most is syntax-aware selection. And this is since 2014. So for the last 9 years, I've been doing, it's been tracking my ultimate version, and it's done like 167,000 times syntax-aware selection, auto-completion, etc., etc. But so Victor Grazzi, we're the same. You see, Victor Grazzi and I, we're on the same page. We both have Command W, Control W, that's the syntax-aware selection, as our favorite. And the thing is that what's more useful at looking what your best is to look at what you don't use. What is the thing that you don't use? Because that is what you can improve on. If you see, well, I'm using this the most, well, it doesn't mean anything. But if you look and you see that you never ever use, for example, extract method, then you can say, well, why don't I use it? This is something useful, and you can investigate that and improve yourself that way. Some people say that that you should use the key promoter. There's a key promoter which will tell you you could have clicked this and that. I hate that thing. I can't stand it. It's just, yes, I know I could have pressed that and that, but I actually like using my mouse. let me have my mouse, right? I love my mouse. I really like my mouse. I don't want to give away my mouse. So yeah, that's something which I don't like, but some people love it. So do use it if you want to. Here we've got Jonathan Shuriel's favorite, and the funny thing with this double shift is I actually discovered it by accident. I didn't know this existed. But my old MacBook Pro, which is lying next to me here in despair, because I hardly ever look at it, it had this really weird arrangement with the arrow keys. And I kept on accidentally hitting double shift because I wanted to hit the up arrow, but it's like very close to the shift arrow, and there's not a clear distinction between it. And I kept on hitting double shift, which helps you to search everywhere. And this dialog would pop up, and I'd say, close the stupid dialog. What's this about? I never looked at it until eventually it dawned on me that this is actually useful. I think somebody pointed it out to me actually and said, hey, you should do double shift. And I thought, oh, okay. And if you do quadruple shift, it also includes non-project items. Now, there are specialized searches, like if you want to search for an action, you can do Control Shift A, but I just use Shift Shift, and it finds everything. So that's a really useful thing. If you're searching for classes, searching for your own classes, the JDK classes, you'll just find them with shifting. All right, let's look at some shortcuts. So there's this amazing shortcut that fixes almost anything. It's the, how many shift clicks have you tried? That's a good one, Casper. How many shift clicks? Well, doing twice, doing 4 times, and if you do 6, then it goes back to 2. So it's like a mod 2 or something like that. All right. So what I want to say is that there's this Alt-Enter super key that fixes almost anything. I know you know it, because if you don't know it, then you're not using IntelliJ. It's a bit like Control-1 on Eclipse. It's absolutely amazing because you can. And what's also good about it is that usually the top option that they offer you is actually the good one. Unlike other IDs, I won't name here, where the top one's usually the bad one. Like the worst thing you can do, the top one. Hey, would you like to delete all your files? Okay. Oh, we just said remove -rf/. Oh, sorry. Okay, well, that shouldn't have done that one. But with IntelliJ, it usually gives you the good option first. So that's very helpful. And that's Alt-Enter. The other one, which is super useful, is Alt-Insert on Windows. Command-N, I've remapped it to Control-Enter because it's just closer. So let's just try it out and look at the difference between the two. Let's make a person, the most boring class, but we all know what was in there. So we can make a playground over here, .person, and we're going to put in here private final string first name, and we're going to say last name as well, and we're going to, of course, a private final local date, birth day, and now we get to the question: do I use Alt-Enter or Control-Enter to generate the code for the constructors, etc.? I'm assuming you've changed computers once since 2014. That's a good question, Svaranga. Somehow they move it along. I think what I do is I like back them up and restore them, back them up and restore them, and that's how they keep on coming along. So that's quite funny. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I agree with the proofreading typo. All right, so there we go. Let's look at that now. If I press Command-Enter, Alt-Enter, that's my super key for fixing anything. Over here, it says add constructor parameters. So it's and the first one is a good option. So let's do that. And we've now added the constructor parameters. So that's great. Then if I press Alt-Enter again, it says, you could convert the field to local variable and constructor. Well, that's a bit dumb. There's no point in that, right? You could make a getter, but it's awkward doing that, right? You can also do Control-Enter or Alt-Insert on Windows, and then it gives you the option of constructing a whole bunch of different code over here. So let me delete this again, delete this constructor, and just do the Alt-Insert or Command-N. I'll make a constructor. I'll make, what else can I make here? Control-Enter will be the getters for the fields, and it just creates everything for you. And of course, what it notices is that this actually could be a record. So Alt-Enter, and it says convert to record, and boom, you've got a record. So Alt-Enter and Alt-Insert or Control-N are very, very useful. So the shortcuts for that are Alt-Enter to do everything, and Command-N, or I've redone for Control-Enter. So I've just rerouted that for Control-Enter. Refactor forward to streams. Yes, we'll get to that a bit later. Use Lombok. Oh, Goran, you don't want to do that nowadays. No. That's long time ago. That's when we were young and silly. We used Lombok. No, nowadays we do records. That's much cooler. Okay. Oh yeah, how to copy first name to last name. Yeah, thanks for asking about that, Bashka. I didn't know anybody would ask that. That's just Command D. That Command D just puts it onto the next one. All right, let's continue and have a look at something else. So, something else. I've got a little gift for you. I posted the link. I tried to post the link early on, but it didn't seem to have taken the link. I don't know why. They just wouldn't let me paste it. So you'd have to type it in. tinyurl.com/jchampconf23, or you can take your camera out and take a picture of this QR code. And this gives you a data structures course that I've written a while ago. And it's about 8 hours of study, and it has also a quiz where you can check how much you actually understood of the data structures. And maybe warn you that that the quiz has some very hard questions. So don't expect to get full marks for the quiz. If you do, I'll be very impressed, right? I'll be really impressed if you do. So if you want to get a job or something, that might be quite fun to get this. So this coupon expires in just under an hour from now, 50 minutes from now. But once you've got the coupon, once you've got it, you will have lifetime access to the course. Well, as long as, the world carries on and the internet carries on, you'll have access to it because it's on the internet. So get it so that you don't lose that opportunity. All right. Let's look at something which is very cool, which is live templates. And we can actually generate code very quickly with live templates. And live templates allow you to generate code like main methods, output, iteration, all of that you can do just with live templates. So let me show you an example. So here's let's go back to the original class over here. No, in fact, I'll leave it as record. Records are nice. But I'm going to do a class here called person demo, and I want to give it a main method. So what I do is I type PSVM, which stands for public static void main. I can also type main, but main is just more awkward to type. So PSVM and tab, and I've got my main method. Okay, so this is fantastic. And I can, for example, do sort m tab that prints that I'm currently in the main method of person demo. I can do sort p, which prints out the arguments. So if you want to print out some stuff, this is really nice. So print out the value of something as well. So printing out things, I can also iterate. I can, for example, make a list over here. Oh, sorry, no, I've lost my place. So make a list of string names equals list of, let's put Michael in here, and Rodrigo and Victor. Rodrigo and Victor. This is what I can remember without looking at the list. And then I can say ITCO, iterate, make the normal iterator code, or I can say iter, ITR tab, and I've just generated the for loop. I can do, what else can I do? I can do for I, write the for loop like that. So all of these live templates are really amazing. You can, of course, edit them. So for example, I don't like the fact that it's public static void main. I don't like that at all. I prefer when it's string ... args. Now, it's almost the same, but I prefer ... because if I've got another main method, I can call that from another main method, and I can just pass an args. So let's, for example, make a person demo 2. And if I want to call person demo 1 from person, or person, if I want person demo 2 to call person demo .main args, then that doesn't work. Does it work? Why does it work? It shouldn't work. Oh, that does work. Wait, that does work because it's an array. No, but sorry, what I want to say is, if I want to do like this, hello world, right? That I can't do. So that's what I want to be able to do. So what I do is I change my live templates always, and I go here, search for main under Java. So if you go to Java and you look for main or PSVM, it's the same thing. Then you just go over here and you say ... and now it has changed it to use the dots. So if I do PSVM, oh wait, that's the wrong one, right? I need to do I used the wrong one. I need to do both actually, otherwise it's going to be the wrong place. Okay, so I use the main one, not the PSVM. So let's undo that and do it again. PSVM tab, and now I've got the ... So that's pretty cool. And that means that I can pass in comma-separated numbers, strings into that. So if I do main or PSVM, it's got string ... args. And you can write your own. So for example, when I do talks or courses, I often do little demos, and people ask me, hey, what is faster? Removing from the middle of a linked list or removing from the middle of an array list? And I always say, well, it's actually quicker to remove from the middle of an array list. And they go, aha, that's wrong. You can't do that, because you have to, because the removing middle of the list is order 1, and array list is order n. But you first have to find the place in the middle in order to remove it. So, and so often when I have a course, I teach courses on O'Reilly. I teach them in-house as well, in person as well. And when I get these arguments, it's easiest to just write the code and say, look, here's the demo. I won't do it now because we don't have enough time. But where's this thing I wanted to show you? Oh no, I've lost the one slide. I was too eager in deleting slides. So I'm quickly going to find the code for that. So what you do is the following. Just 1 second, please. I need to quickly find. I was so worried about not having enough time that I deleted and deleted and deleted and deleted. and they deleted slightly too much. So give me 1 second to copy one slide back into the course, into the talk, because it's very, very cool. And I don't know how I deleted that by accident. Tempest, oh, it's still coming. Okay, it's still coming. So, phew, I thought that I deleted this really important slide. So I'll show you in a moment how we can also improve on that. Okay, so Jörg, don't worry, it's fine. It's fine. I don't mind. I've got enough people helping me to answer the questions like that. It's completely cool. Yeah, no, sure. Okay, so what I like doing is when I'm working, is I've got my left hand on the keyboard and the right hand on the mouse, and what I then I hold the command button down or the control button down, and so all my code becomes just a hypertext, like a web page. So if I want to know how does list off work, I just command click on it. Unfortunately, going back is a bit of a bother, but clicking on it is really easy. So I can click around, find, oh, wait, is empty. Oh, is empty. Where's it used? Where's this empty used, for example? So I can click around very easy. And I know that people who are fans of IntelliJ, for some reason, don't like mice. I don't know why. Maybe they're scared of mice. I'm not scared of mice. And I really like my mouse. But for me, it's easier to scroll like that than to use a keyboard all the time. It just has more tactile feeling to it to move the mouse up and down, especially a nice mouse like this one, the little Apple. I don't know what this one's called, but the nice mouse, where you can go up and down and backwards and left and right. So for me, navigating, it makes sense most just holding command down and clicking on it. But some people prefer command B. And what I then do is if I want to go back again, I then go left and right. Is it magic mouse? I think you're right. I think it's a magic mouse. Wasn't the magic mouse the one with the little weird single wheel? Anyway, it's a fantastic mouse. And the thing is that, yes, everything should be able to be done with the keyboard and IDEA. And it is important to be able to touch type. Now, I think a lot of the argument about the mouse is that why you shouldn't use it is that you lose your position on the keyboard. But it doesn't matter because, I mean, my hand's not on the keyboard, and now it's on the right place. It's on the J. And now it's not, and now it's back, and now it's not. I'm not looking at the keyboard, I'm looking at you, and my hand goes straight to the right place. It goes to the mouse back. It's not a big deal. Once you've done it a few times, you know that the index fingers fit on the F and the J, you can feel it. It's not so difficult. So I just find for navigation that the mouse is faster for me. But others prefer the keyboard, so that's fine as well. Or the touchpad, yeah. Hey, Kirk. My friend Kirk's there. Hey, that's fantastic. Yeah, so the touchpad's also great. But yeah, well, the mouse is almost like a touchpad. Something else that I find very handy, if I'm working on a project, I'm trying to, for example, refactor the GC toolkit. If you've not heard of GC toolkit, have a look at it. Microsoft GitHub GC toolkit. I'm refactoring it, and they're like, I'm trying to change 3 things at the same time, or 5 things at the same time. Then it's trying to navigate between them all is a bit tricky. So what I do is I set breakpoints at each point. So I'll go to the place I'm trying to analyze, and I'll put a breakpoint there. Then I'll go to the parse. I'll put a breakpoint there. Sorry, not a breakpoint, a bookmark. Not a breakpoint, sorry about that. A bookmark. And you do a bookmark with Control, Shift, and a number between 0 and 9. And then you can simply press Control and the number, and it goes straight back to the bookmark that you left there. This is very, very handy if you're doing a refactoring that involves, several different places that you need to update within an editing period. So have a look at that. It's really cool. It's something I actually had forgotten about, and then I remembered again. And it's very nice. You just press Control Shift 1, and you've got a little bookmark over here. You can also see these bookmarks. There's like a bookmark drop down tool window. You can go to there, or you can just press Control 1 to find your place back where you were. So this is very nice for when you're jumping around trying to work with some code. This was the one that Victor Wright and I like, is Command Control W. The official Mac OS X version is Option up arrow and Option down arrow. It doesn't work for me because I like having my left hand on the keyboard and the right hand of the mouse, and being able to simply expand and make it smaller. Unfortunately, if you use Keynote or any other program on the Mac or Chrome, Command W closes the active window. So I've got to be really careful when I go to back to StreamYard that I don't automatically close the window when trying to select some text. So this is something to always be aware of. The bookmark numbers. Yeah, that's another problem. You forget the bookmark number. That's what I'm saying. Don't make more than 5, otherwise you're gonna struggle to find your place around. What does Kirk say? To work with multi-module projects. Yes, that's a problem. that's definitely a problem. I really try to. No, you can have as many. You can have far more bookmarks than 10, but you can only have 10 on the keys, on the numbers. You can have more than that, but the other ones for that. Okay, Command click to declaration. Command Option left arrow to navigate. Yeah, that's what I do exactly. Okay, so good. Let's move on. If you want to move code up and down, Command Shift up, Command Shift down. And if you haven't selected anything, it considers the current line to be selected. And this is something weird because I've often seen people do this. You know, they're trying to edit some code and they're trying to move some code around. So what they do is they'll go and let's see something to move. Let's move this down over here. I didn't write this code. This is from somebody else. But let's say I want to move this down. So what they'll do is they'll go and they'll go there with the key and they'll move the key back all the way to the end, and then they'll cut that. And now I've got an empty line there, so I've got to now delete that and go there and click there to put it back. Instead of just going and saying one keystroke, boom, you're done. Boom, you're done. But it's very easy, just Command Shift up and down to move things around. Oh, thanks, kid. I didn't know how many there were, but I knew there were more than 10. Changing default shortcuts is bad because it means you cannot use them on anyone else's IDE. This is true. This is very true. I've had that so many times. I'm like trying to. What happened to me is one time I was teaching a course and I just got a complete blank about live templates. I forgot how they worked. I completely forgot. I didn't remember how they worked, and I just blanked. And it took me a while to find my way again. All right, I mentioned the live templates, and I want to show you how to make your own. So I just reordered this slightly wrong place. If you go to Preferences, Editor, Live Templates, you can have your live template over here. This is an example, and this is what I use when I want to show a quick, dirty demo showing something's performance. Let me show you. So this is now settings here, live templates. I'm going to go and create my own. So we're going to say plus over here. And it's going to be a live template. I'm going to put it under Java. The abbreviation is going to be the following. It's going to be nanotime. I'm going to copy and paste this in here because I'll get it wrong. The description is system nanotime. Okay, there we go. And then the template text is this over here. So you've got $time, you've got equal system time, system nanotime. You've got the try, you've got the dollar selection, that's whatever you've selected before. And then finally, we say system nanotime minus time. And we printf time dollar milliseconds percentage n, and it's time divided by 1 million. I don't really care about less than milliseconds because this is not accurate enough anyway. I'm also going to edit the variable here. I'm going to say the expression time by default will have the value time. That's a good one. I'll just select that. I'm going to reformat according to style. I'm also going to specify it's going to be for Java. I think it's statement. I think it's a statement. I think that's right. I think it's a statement. Let me just double check that. I'll show you how to check it. If you look at, for example, I don't know, start with callable. Yeah, that's also for Java statement. So Java statement is the correct one to use here. And now, if I, for example, go to my person demo, and I want to see, let's take this one over here. I want to, for example, create 1 million linked lists out of this. I'm going to have a for I, 1 to 1 million, and I'm going to say, list.add new linked list of names. Oh, sorry, of names over here. And and I'm going to go and create this local variable, which is going to be a list of what is it? List of string? No, list of string equals new array list. Put this up here. And we're going to see how long does it take to make 1 million linked lists. So small linked list. So if I wrap this, Control Alt J, I've now got my nanotime, pop it in, and it's surrounded with the time. So this is, as I said, it's not a benchmark. Kirk is about to disown me as his friend for even suggesting that you could use this for something useful, but it is useful because it gives you a very broad understanding of relative costs. And of course, you need to do it correctly. But for demos, this is absolutely beautiful. So how long does it take to do 1 million linked lists of like 3 values? And you end up with some number, which, well, once it's compiled, then run everything. So 261 milliseconds. So that's very useful. Let me just quickly have a look here. Okay, so okay, if the cursor's on a method declaration, if it removes the whole method, yes. It does, I think it does. It also moves blocks that logically fit together if you're moving blocks there. JetBrains spy on back and forth. That's a good idea, Patrick. That's a really good idea. I'm going to do that. Because, yeah, that's fantastic. So I love it. What I love about this talk and my course as well about IntelliJ, I do that on O'Reilly, is that whenever I do it, I learn something new. So this is going to be copied, pasted for posterity, because that's definitely, I'm going to forget that. That's a really, really great idea. Because then you can command click on it, and then you can command alt, wheel up and down and go backwards and forwards. Fantastic idea. Switch shortcut layout into Windows keyboard lock layout one. Yeah, so the shortcut layout is similar. The classic one is similar to that one. Okay. Yeah, you don't actually. It's actually almost impossible to remember the shortcuts. Chris, almost impossible. It's like if somebody watches you, they say, "How did you do that?" And you're like, don't know. But this is where what's useful here is this presentation assistant, because if I do Command W, window, Command or Command D, at the bottom of my screen, it says duplicate line via Command D. See, undo. So everything I do is shown at the bottom. So if you forget what you just did, Command D will remind you what you did. Let's see what other comments you've got here. Rent lock idiom. Yeah, actually, they have that built in, the rent lock idiom. That's built in. Didn't you know that? It's built in, right? That's part of IntelliJ, right? You just do L, and you've got your actually sorry, you're right. It used. I thought it had the lock built in. Maybe it doesn't. It's got the re-enter and read-write lock, which is kind of silly because nobody uses that. All right, let's see one more thing. No, there's no link for the presentation document. Look at the recording; you'll get it on there. But I might post that. Oh, I don't have a link at the moment for that. All right. Okay, so this is very nice to be able to do a quick selection and try something else. And you can do this for all the code that you have to type over and over again. You can make your own live templates. Something else which is quite handy is column selection. You can either with the mouse hold the Alt down and drag the mouse. I love the mouse. Or if you want to do it with a keyboard, that does have some advantages. On Windows, it's Alt Shift Insert. On the Mac, the official is Command Shift 8. I have it Command Control Shift C, and so you can use toggle selection like that. Okay, so I want to show you a demo of that. Here's a class called FruitSpec, and as I said, this is not my code. I'm using it with permission. It was one of the things that I had to tidy up. And so what I want to do is I want to make an enum out of these fields. Right. So how do I go about making an enum? Well, I can create an enum. It's going to look like this: public enum field, and now I want to create for each string, I want to have a type, enum type in there, and then I want to have a private final string and a constructor for that. So let's start with the private final string name, all right? And I'm going to add a constructor parameter for that, right? I also have to have some values, and for that I'm going to copy and paste the strings up here down into that. I'm going to select the strings, I'm going to do a search and replace, and wherever we're going to have a comma and a space, we're going to replace it with a comma and a new line character, which you do with, how do you do a command, new line character? There's a little thing here for new line. So replace all to put them all nicely on separate lines. I'm going to select them again with Command W, that's my favorite, and I'm going to unindent them. Right, so then I'm all at the beginning. Then I'm going to go and I'm going to copy them. I'm going to turn on column selection. I'm going to paste them again. Oh, so that's the wrong place. For some reason, didn't paste it properly. Let's try it again. I need to just select them, copy them, paste them. All right. Now I'm going to have a open bracket, go left one, and select that whole lot. Make it uppercased, all right, all uppercased. So delete the one at the front and put a closing bracket at the back. And I'm almost done. I need to right at the back. The last one didn't work because it's a special case. So I need to just fix that and put a semicolon there. And now I've destroyed everything, but hopefully we'll fix it again. Oh, I went a bit too crazy here. I did one line too many. So there's my field, and if you look at that, I've now transformed all these strings into a bunch of enums, right? Just by using column selection. Now I won't do that again. That's just, you can learn that. Column selection is very useful. You can also do Alt and drag it and select it like that, and it's definitely something which can save you a lot of effort. Remember column selection. All right. Postfix completion, yeah. I've done a bit of postfix completion. The only thing I like is var. Control-Shift-V, very useful. Very, very useful. Does control work for column selection? Really? That's probably a good idea to map it for that. I don't think it does for me. It also turns it off again afterwards. So you need to turn it off, because if you use a key one for that, it needs to be turned off again afterwards. Okay, code completion is weird because they've got this automatic code completion. And the code completion, oh, there's a question. There's a good question actually here. Could you define a live template to do the string conversion to enum? Yes, you could. You could, I think you could. Because what you can do is you can actually write a Groovy script to do the live template. If you know Groovy well, I think you can do it. I'm suspecting you can do it. So because in the context, you've actually got like access to the abstract syntax tree, and you can do a whole bunch of things in there. So you probably can do it. If you do a lot of that, you might have to reconsider your design. So I probably don't want to do that, but yeah. Okay, so basic code completion is really, really amazing, but it gives you the wrong options. For example, if I type list string name equals new, it shows me things like, for example, demo and string, which are not lists. So why is it showing them to me? Doesn't make any sense. Better is Control-Shift-Space. So I always use Control-Shift-Space for smart code completion, because that then filters the options and only shows me what in that context would be valid. So it goes and looks at all my classes and says, oh, you probably want to use array list or anchor or so on. It's still not perfect. It still shows me things that it shouldn't. It shows me, for example, interfaces and abstract classes, which can be confusing, but it still does a first level filter, which I think is really, really useful. All right, refactoring. So this is where IntelliJ really shines. If you want to alter a class or field or method, you can just move it with F6. And of course, you can turn off your that horrible thing at the top of MacBook Pros, the old MacBook Pros that I've got. What do you call it again? Anyway, you can make it that it's always function keys. Rename a Shift F6 and change signatures Control F6. What you can also do is simply change it and then press Alt-Enter and make it updated everywhere automatically. So this is pretty cool. There's other one which is interesting, which is extract method. And I actually want to show you a demo of that because there's a little tip that might be helpful to you. It's Control-Alt-M or Command-Option-M, but it has some restrictions. It can only have one return value, and it must be a correct set of statements or expressions. But the benefit is that it can actually discover other code that's similar. Ah, thanks, touch bar, yes. It's like, I can't stand that thing. It's so annoying. It's like the one reason I want to buy myself a new laptop. Chris liked the touch bar. Yeah, I've still got the old laptop, so I can't justify it quite yet, but I will buy one soon because I've got new one now. So let's look at this. There's a generate PCD remarks. Again, I'm going to do my shift to find it. Generate PCD remarks. Pop in there, and I want to refactor this. Now, I want to have a method to do this. Now, the first thing I could do is I could do Control-M here and say extract remark. And good, so I've done that. Now, just do the next one. Do that as well. Extract remark. Extract remark, and okay, 2, and it says, okay, why didn't it do it? I don't know. Let's try it again. Extract 2, and it says, hey, you've got something else that looks very similar. Let's just do that there as well. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's do that as well. Let's just IntelliJ know what it's doing, and it gets completely confused. So it's like over here, it's using uninitialized variables. The code doesn't even compile. And for some reason, we have to help a little bit. We have to help IntelliJ a little bit. So the extract method is good with the feature that marks repeated code blocks. Yes, but it doesn't do it very well. And that's my problem. So so what I want to show you is you can actually help a little bit by doing something like this. If you make the code blocks look more similar, like this, basically, I'm going to wrap this in let's just do this automatically. So you can actually select this and do Control-Alt-T and press A to put it inside a block. And now again, Control-Alt-T and A will put that in the code block. So I've got now 3 identically looking blocks. I'm also going to copy the string definition into each individual code block. So I've got self-contained code blocks that all look exactly the same, except for different column labels. Now I select that and I press Control-Alt-M, extract remark, it's called. And this time it actually does a decent job of extracting them. So if you now look at the extract remark, the only thing I need to fix is the string here should have been called the column label. Now notice what I'm doing. I'm typing it, but I'm not leaving there. I'm just pressing Alt-Enter, and now I can rename the usages to that column label. So so this is really nice. Just a quick little update, and it's now done all of the. And once I've done that, I can get rid of these code blocks. I don't need them anymore. They are superfluous. But I found that helping a little bit, preparing it so that it looks the same, makes it a lot easier to do the refactoring with extract method. Yeah, so yeah, of course, if you've got, you can also make it highlighted, as Kirk says, you can make it highlighted for the same code blocks. That's for duplicate code. All right. Actually, the hardware escape button came back before that. Wouldn't it be enough to extract the strings as local variables to let IntelliJ see the same structure? Maybe, I'm not sure. Maybe. Okay, inline is the opposite to inline it again. All right, the other thing I want to mention is the analyzer, and this is where IntelliJ really shines. And that is that you can inspect your code, and then you can make it automatically highlight certain things you want to know. So there was a question right at the beginning of our talk where somebody asked, can you automatically convert for loops into streams, which I don't think you should do. I really don't think you should do that. Like, don't do that. I teach a course on how to do that, and I'm telling you, don't do that, because you can get yourself into some really bad performance issues and other issues if you do that. You can make your code unreadable and hard to work with. But Analyzer can do that. right? It can check for the most common glaring code inconsistencies, and you can also migrate your code very nicely. So let's have a look at, for example, generate config. Now let's go and look at that. Shift, generate config. And down here, we've got an old style switch statement. Switch printer, case 0, case 1, case 2. Now, if we press Alt Enter, it says replace with enhanced switch statement, and it's done. And we can go one step further. We can actually use the expression switch, which looks like this. We're going to say, this is going to say equals switch, and equals switch. Now, the one thing which isn't covered here is what happens if it's not 0, 1, or 2. What do we do then? Because it's system int, so it could be 42. Well, in that case, you could just give back the same value that was there, which is probably going to be null. But I'm going to just give back the default over here. Will be give that same one back, right? So it's equal to those ones or that one. If you want to, if it's a bug, you can always over here throw an exception and say eating state exception. All right. So that's one example. Another example is elegant day table init GUI. Let's look at that one. Init GUI inside elegant table. This one here, and here you've got the pattern matching. The sorter, we got instance off, and then we're doing a cast afterwards, and it just says Alt Enter, replace it. And this is interesting. Actually, I didn't know you could do this. I was wondering when I was looking at this code earlier on how you do it. You can say instance of final. I don't need the final here, but you could do that if you wanted to have it, keep it final. And the thing is, if you can analyze the entire project by going right-click over here and saying analyze and inspect code. So you can search the entire project for things you could do better. For loops, it could be streams and things like that, if you want to. All right, so that's running in the background, and you can see here now, down here, there's somewhere there'll be code. There's a lot of things wrong. As I said, this is not my code, but I'm using it as a demo, which is very nice of them to let me use it. So migration aid, you'll see Java 8, for example. That actually there are not many places where they would use stream, where you can use streams here. But you can see, for example, the switch statements. You can see Java 9 has a bunch of things you can improve. So if you're working with a big project, I don't recommend that you go and do it automatically. You could, but I don't recommend it, because you only want to change the code that actually matters, because even IntelliJ makes mistakes when they do the refactoring. All right, so be very careful with that, especially try with resource. So I've got another couple of seconds before we finish. We've had lots of questions in the middle, which is great. It's been fun. So thank you very much for joining. If you're not on my newsletter, you really owe it to yourself to be on the newsletter. I send out an email once a month usually. I've been very bad last year, but I'm hoping to pick it up again this year. I've been doing it for 22 years. And you'll see lots of other trainings on that as well. Just pop over to javaspecialists.eu and you can find a place to subscribe on that. Also, don't forget this data structures course. The coupon will be valid for another 15 minutes. After that, it's gone. Please don't share it outside of this group. It's only for those who are here. But please do redeem it so that you can take advantage of that. And the fun part, as I said, it actually helps you to also, you can also try the quiz, which is very, very nice. And so thank you very much for joining. Learn one new keystroke a day, and you will cover the whole of IntelliJ in half a year. So let's see any more comments here. Data structures course. JetBrains. Yeah, they've got this new GUI, which I haven't really had a chance to look at yet. I'm kind of scared because I don't want to re-record my course again. So come on, not again. No, you can't swap it out. Sorry, it doesn't work like that. So it's not possible to do that.
All right. Thank you, Heinz. Thank you very much for the presentation. Amazing presentation. Thanks
so much, Rodrigo.
Everyone else, the J Champions Conference continues today. We have talks, one starting every hour until 3 p.m. And tomorrow is the last day of the J Champions Conference. Thank you very much, all. Looking forward to seeing you in another session. Have a good one.
Goodbye from me.